Good morning. How do you do? I just realized that the message I shared was shared to TikTok and not to Facebook. And I'm trying really hard to make sure that I don't just repeat content across the platforms. So let's just go. Happy. Hi. Hi. I'm so sorry. I'm on the rooftop. Gifty. Happy Boxing Day. To the rest of you, today, the 26th of December, is Boxing Day. To majority of us, it's leftover day, and for me it is leftover day as well, because look, it's 10:13 in the morning, but I've already made myself a plate of leftover ostrich. Yeah, what we had yesterday was not a turkey, and yeah, I'm eating it with a spoon because I couldn't be bothered to change it. I needed a spoon to fetch the stew and the things, and my creating unnecessary utensils to wash. To the rest of you, it is all those days. And whatever you are celebrating today, I wish you well on that day. Happy Boxing Day. Merry Christmas. I hope that those of you who exchange gifts, the gifts you receive from your loved ones make you feel great. And those of us who don't exchange gifts, I hope we still feel love, even whilst we are not exchanging any specific gifts. But most of these days, whatever it means to you where you are, the 26th of December means something completely different for me, my siblings, and my wider family. Today would have been my father's birthday, and so it is World SA Manson Day. He would have been 90 something today if he was here. He clearly isn't. It used to be a day where I felt sorry for myself, and I wasted a lot of time grieving. But I suppose that was a process. I needed to grieve. But I've gone past just grieving for the sake of it. For me, this is now Emancipation Day. People celebrate Emancipation Day in different ways, in different contexts. And even me, I celebrate people's birthdays as significant days on the calendar. But there's no other significant day more significant for me and my lineage than today. The other significant day is the 25th of March, which is my mother's birthday. These are dates that destiny changers were born. I'll tell you about my mother on her day, but today, let me tell you about my dad on his day. For me, my father was a destiny changer. Before my father, my family were farmers, uneducated, illiterate farmers in the hinterlands of Ghana. They did not come from a tribe that was well known. People disrespect my tribesmen a lot. They call us all sorts of names. And some of those names were legitimized before people like my father arrived on the scene. My father is one of the reasons why now, if you simply generalize my tribesmen and you call them bush people, they are uneducated, they are blah, 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 you look stupid, because people like my father from that tribe have done so well to distinguish themselves that they have broken the rhetoric. The rhetoric no longer works. People would say to me, well, you are not, but you are different. You are a bit different. I'm like, what makes it different? But it's people like my dad. Let me tell you the story, and then I will try and pick the parallels for you. My father was born in some thick forest on the border between Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire. My dad was born in Doma. His parents were farmers. His father, from all accounts, was a medicine man also. You can call it whatever name you like. But they were poor people. They were illiterate people. They were marginalized people. They were not people whose names would be known in national discourse. They are not people. I met the immediate past president of Ghana, say, not too long after my dad died, approaching a decade ago. And I said something. He says, "You look very familiar." I'm like, I flew on the same flight with him. I don't think he had even become a candidate then. I don't know. I can't remember these timelines accurately. He says, "You look eerily familiar." And I'm like, people always say that to me because people who know my dad pick his mannerisms from me. And in that conversation, he picked out who my dad was. And he says, "Oh, that was a very distinguished man. He was one of the pioneers." And I walked off thinking, when people like that do know your dad, it is incredible. But if you think to the fact that my father's parents would never have been known by people like that, my dad had changed my destiny. My dad was the person who had made himself known in those circles so that I could be welcome in those circles through conversations about who my dad was, so that people could now tell me about my dad and his pedigree. And he did it single-handedly. Nobody else in his family had been educated before him. None of his siblings were. He was smart. And he was blessed that was picked up. And his parents wanted him to go to school. Eventually, he was sent to England as a 15-year-old on his own. No supervisor, no parental guidance. At 15, and he was told to go get the best education money could buy and don't come home until that was. And yeah, he did. He came home with his PhD in classical philosophy. You couldn't be more classical academic than my dad became. And he came back, he's built life. The Manson name was actually not even in existence. The name Manson did not start from anybody else, and it was not passed on to him. That's the thing. At some point, he went with Martins and Manson. When I saw that, I was very curious about it. I understand why he simplified it for the Pan-Africanist thing. His actual name is Kwabena Ensu Giabo Chumberima. That should have been his real name. If you look at the lineage, you look at the family lines, you look at the names. I am becoming myself a little family historian. I am learning these things. But yeah, for those of you who are Pan-Africanists, and you ask me, especially those who see, why would you go by the name Manson? It was a name he chose. The Son of Man. And it was the English translation for his name. He was Chumberima. Chumberima. His father was the man, Chumberima. And he was the son of the man, Manson. So it is just a translation of who he was into English. It was easier at the time to be a Manson than to be a Chumberima. If you took Chumberima to England, it would have been very tricky for a lot of people. Again, in this day of globalization, maybe different names are easier to carry. In those days, it would have been a whole lot more difficult for you to carry your Chumberima name. He went forward with Manson. So the Manson name was invented by my dad for himself and for the rest of us. There are many people who are not even biologically related to my dad in the Doma region who bear the name Manson. If that is your name, you were named after my father. There is no contention. There's nobody else that could have been mistaken as the origin of the name from my dad. What he did was create a new identity for himself. He went abroad with all the bright lights. My dad lived in Soho when he first arrived in London. Those of you who know Soho, or even if you don't know Soho, go do a simple search for Soho. You will find that a lot of the vices in London happen around Soho. To live around Soho and to maintain your focus with no parent supervision, with nobody hovering, to intrinsically generate the need and the structures to self-regulate in order to lead to outcomes. Phenomenal. He distinguished himself. He worked really hard. He managed to establish something, and he's passed it on to his children. I am so proud when I tell you that I am Dr. Manson's daughter. But that legacy had to be created by one man. He had to put his soul, his blood, his tears into the construction of that identity that I now currently bear, and I do so with pride. Some of my family members are so heartbroken by how this is. My father had 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. By the way our social systems are set up, that means that only one person was going to carry his name. Only my brother carries my father's name. My sisters and I were girls, so we are all mistresses. We all married. Yeah. My children are my father's grandchildren. They bear his genes. My father's genes are so loud. When you see anybody related to him, it is so clear. It is so obvious. But you know, the names don't quite tell the story, but the genes do tell the story. Myself, I have carried on, and I'm hoping to pass the baton to my children. And my baby sister and I were talking a couple of days ago. We have various traumas that are hilarious. One of the traumas I had in life is that I had never managed to see the film Christmas in Connecticut. It seemed like a very good film. My daughter looked for it for me, and I found the film does not even seem like one that would have been anything, but it used to be on the television Christmas Eve, around the time that we had family dinner. My family sat and had a formal dinner Christmas Eve. And after we sat and had the family dinner, we had one of SA Manson's sermons on the Mount. The gospel, according to SA Manson, chapter 4, verse 3, was preached with due diligence on those occasions. Obviously, as a kid, what I wanted was to be able to watch Christmas in Connecticut. But what he did was to preach the sermon and to indoctrinate us, to teach his ideologies and to ingrain it so deeply that you don't need to be conscious to propagate some of his teachings moving forward. Those who know me will tell you it is so obvious that I am my father's daughter. The way I speak, the way I act, the way I carry myself. And those things were all possible because of this ingrained indoctrination that he took us through. He was an intentional man. He was a very clever man. He understood psychology and he used it to his advantage. But you see, one man has single-handedly created a family dynasty that is already in motion, and I see it in my generation and in the one which is even emerging. The children are already beginning to distinguish, and it feeds down from this. Why do I tell you my father's story? I tell you my father's story because one person can change the destiny of. I've seen my father do it. I've seen my father do it. And a lot of us are also carrying on with that lineage. My father used to tell me that his dream was to have 7 sons, and he wanted all his sons to be doctors. And he didn't even say what kind of doctors they were. Nature did not quite agree with the whole sexist nature of only having sons. So Providence gave him 75% of his children as girls and only 25% of them as one boy. 3 girls, 1 boy. And so he had to be forced to learn to teach the girls, to develop the girls, to empower the girls to become. And he did. My father has 2 doctorates in his children, 1 master's degree holder, That's what he has. In the dream to get to 7 doctors, he got 2 and counting. We are all still here. We are all still moving. Who knows how many more? But do you see how his vision about his 7 sons becoming doctors, and the story of the doctors, and the importance of the doctors, and the elevation of the doctors? The 2 doctors we have are all academic doctorates. We are not medical doctors. That is at his children's level. His grandchildren are still in their teens. Some of them are not even up to 10. So the grandchildren are very young. A lot of them are in their teens. Some of them are in their 20s. But already amongst those grandchildren, who all bear different names, by the way. Like I said, the legacy is not always just about the name. They were women's children, so they bear different names. However, you will have to stock back to the same man. He's already got 1 medical doctor. Boom. That has ticked off the doctor on 3 different generations already through the lineage of 1 man. What would the others become? Who even knows? But why would the others more likely go down the same achievement trajectory? Because just as it was drilled down our spines, we now know, each of us now know the importance of the indoctrination. And I, for example, do it with military precision with my children. A lot of the time, you will see me go on walks with my son. When I walk with my son, I get to speak to his mind. I get to talk to him. I get to share our vision. I get to share the ideologies that have driven the progress that has brought us here. I do. When I do the girls' trip with my daughter, I indoctrinate. I do. And I know my sisters and my brother do similar things. By that, give another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We will see these grandchildren who themselves also become. And because it has now become a family track record, they will also inevitably push the same agendas. They will get very similar results. This is how family dynasties are started. And I wanted to share my father's story with you on the day that would have been his birthday, in acknowledgement of the phenomenal nature of his influence. But for me, for you, it goes beyond that. I'm sharing this with you because I want to give you the hope. Because most of you might be first generation progress seekers. I want to give you that hope. I want to validate that hope. I want to give you the faith that 1 man can make a big difference. 1 man can change everything for the generations. My father, single-handedly, by his very hands, have shaped a family unit, a sub-unit within the larger family unit. He's created the Manson domain and all the different inflections of the Manson domain, all of us who are subsections of the Manson domain. And he has brought respect to this family unit. He has established traditions, and he has carried on the traditions, and it is still continuing even after his demise. So, if you are somebody who knows that you are here to change your family's destiny, I am very similar, of a very similar assignment to my dad. My dad was the fire starter. My job is to bang it out louder. It is easier for me because somebody has already lit the fire. I'm just going to fan the flames, and I'm going to start a much bigger fire out of that one. But even if nobody has started a fire for you, 1 man from a village in Doma can start a name that can have local, regional, international acknowledgements. Hi, people.
Oh, see.
What did she do?
I thought she was still here.
You have a whole meal.
I'm living my best life. What can I say?
I'm so sorry. How
No.
I thought you were just sitting here.
Me, Sit here. For what? No. I'm sitting here chilling, eating.
Enjoying your morning.
Absolutely. I'm lying here enjoying the fruits of my labor.
Right.
Catching sun when I want sun. Now that the sun is actually out, the basket is going out gradually. Can you see it's not fully there? I want to still get vitamin D because that's one of my problems. Don't have enough vitamin D.
Did you end up going on your walk this morning?
No,
You said you were going at 6.
clearly. my working mate does not want to get up at 6. If I wanted to, I could have gone to wake him up. Did I want to wake him up? Absolutely not. Anyway, as you guys can see, the people in my family have arrived. I want to talk to them a little bit, but I wanted to share with you on World's SA Manson Day that it is possible for one man to start something and to do so with such fidelity that it will be taken on by the generations way after you. Yeah? We'll talk some more as the day goes on. Mwah.
It's quite spacious.
We're going to start farming.
Farming.
Yeah.
Since when do we farm?
Since now that we farm,
Right, okay.
we are going to start pepper farming.
Pepper farming?
Should we even do tomatoes?
Are you going to care for that, the farm?
I'm the fire starter. When you start a fire, somebody has to fan the flames.
Yeah, the person who starts the fire, right?
Yeah, I will try, but I need more people to fan the flames.
All right.
We're going to start our Manson farms. Yeah, people, I'll see you soon.